order on Wednesday, August 23rd, 2023 at 6 p.m. Statement regarding the meeting notice. The agenda for the meeting was sent to the Shawnee Leader and is also broadcasting. Copies of the agenda were also posted at the Village Hall, Bonneville State Bank, and Bonneville Library. I'm with Tim Kelly on our call-in line. We have approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda and deviate as necessary.
I'll second that.
Motion by Hottenstein, second by Stashik, to approve the agenda and deviate as necessary. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Approval of the Wednesday, July 26, 2023 minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from Wednesday, July 26th.
I'll second it.
Motion by Cork, second by Zuliger, to approve the minutes from July 26, 2023. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Acknowledgement of citizenship and open forum, we have Brooke Parks here. Reports, fire chief report.
No updates since the village board meeting.
Police chief reports. Clerk treasurer report. Director of municipal operations.
As you can see, our village signs are up. May readjust one of them, as of right now. Doing some landscaping. I was asked by Celebrate Bondable today what we're doing with the landscaping up there. We cleaned that up, tore down some of the overgrown stuff. When I referred to that, that's the public parking area by the stop and go lights, so I'm cleaning that up so people can see actually to the right rather than all them bushes and overgrown. I'm gonna re-landscape and fix that up, clean that up. We're also fixing up and cleaning up a few things here at the hall. You've probably seen I've taken away the bench, the signboard. I'm gonna rehang. I ordered a new one. We're gonna hang it on the wall. Just kind of spruce things up. And then in addition, we're doing some storm sewer work right now, trying to get some of these alleys to drain better. There's actual storm sewer underneath them, so we have to go in and build drains. So that's keeping us busy right now.
Okay, and we'll move down to unfinished business, H3. Discussion of possible recommendation on inquiry to purchase a portion of village property on parcel 107 70050 0220.
So what this is that the resident asked, talked to the board about possibly purchasing some property. It's a parcel right next to Village Park. We own the property to the side and to the rear of them. I guess I'll let you explain what your thoughts are and everything.
Okay. So my husband and my husband owns the house. I do have a drawing where our current property line is. We actually want to expand it 43 feet. And the reason being is because, we want to put up a pool so we can swim on our property. And right now we don't have much of the property big enough. During the summer, I have a babysit kid, so it wouldn't be too big. But we just don't have enough room right now. And with the, the clothesline being there, we don't use the clothesline, and it's in the, I think cemented in. And then also, my husband likes to work on cars in his free time. So we'd like to either rebuild a garage or expand our garage a little bit more so he can put a lift in to work on, be able to work underneath of cars instead of having to jack them up. So that is our reasoning why we want to be able to put it in or expand it a little bit more. But like my husband said too, during the 4th of July, we do block off so people can park back there. We do block it off on our current property line. So we would continue to do that for the 4th of July so people can still park back there. Not a problem. And I know usually the city once in a while mows our part of ours, which is fine. But yeah, so that's why we want to.
How many feet did you say?
43.
So this is currently the GIS. It's close, it's not exact. So what she's asking for is essentially that much to square this off. That's what she's asking for.
So is 43 feet kind of where the other lot line is? Or is it further?
It's further.
A little bit further?
You guys have a map
Oh, yeah.
in your packet?
I didn't know if that's how we got
So
the
it's
43 feet.
It's approximate, now this is approximate, so
Yeah.
approximately it's like 35 feet, the current, the property just to the westward, that lot line goes to 35 feet. Which she's asking for 43.
Yeah, so it would be 43 feet from our current lot line.
So that's what the dotted line on that map
Right.
that you guys have is what they were looking for. So the heavy line is their current property.
It comes down to the question if the village wants to sell that property, future use that we were looking at, maybe using that property for. This would require a certified survey map to be approved, which is approximately between $15 and $200 or $2,000. So it becomes a question, who pays for that? How much is the property worth, the cost of it? But first, I think you need to answer the question if you want to sell the property or not. It would shrink up our green space that we currently have out there by 43 feet, obviously. We just went through an outdoor rec plan, as a planning commission. And what that called for was, and again, outdoor rec plan is something we don't currently have funds for. And it's something we're trying to make a plan moving forward. But to make this a hard stand parking lot for handicap ADA accessible to the ballpark, this area down here. And possibly utilizing this green space that we have over here for something. We own this parcel, obviously, that connects the rest of the park.
Would 43 feet make or break what we're gonna do with the other portion?
I can't say it would make or break it because we really don't know exactly what
What
we're
we're
doing.
doing,
I know that the only thing I can tell you definitely is that in our plan, like I said, it's just a plan right now. We plan on paving this for ADA accessibility and maybe removing this portion of fence. There is a fence that runs down here. Maybe removing this portion of fence because right now, the access is you gotta go all the way around. There is a gate there, but maybe removing that portion of fence to make this all open.
And where that fence is, we do mow over there. Right now, we have a trailer parked there. Because we don't have the garage space, so my husband right now has a trailer parked on, the side of the fence, which is our side. So,
I mean, I don't see anything bad about selling it.
I don't either. If we're gonna pave this over here, we can still go in there. I mean, there's still access for us. to
Yeah,
get
as
on
long as
that
there's
part.
access to that other part, I don't see a problem unless, Jesse, you see a problem.
I just don't know. I mean, that's
I
why
don't,
you're the ones that are gonna have to answer this. To me, I mean, we're not gonna gain, it's the monetary value isn't gonna be that much for us.
right,
It's not a matter of price, I don't think, but it's a matter of plan. I mean, we own it right now, and I don't,
Yeah, once you sell it, it's gone, right?
yeah, but they ain't making it more.
My question is what kind of pool are you putting in?
And probably, I've been looking at a couple, like decent size inflatable ones.
You know, there's fencing that needs to be put in at a pool, and then my concern would be, and I don't have a vote in this at all, but would be that it's close to a park and there are fence requirements. So just that you know that you have to have some type of fence so that kids don't get in it and you're close to a park. So
And then,
just make sure you follow those ordinances.
Yeah,
my concern is 43 feet.
well, that's why I was like, 43 feet, that's pretty exact.
Yeah, was there a specific reason it was 43 feet?
we just measured from where our property line is now, because originally I wanted to do, the city has a few trees on their property line. And I was gonna try and, because right now, our current property line is from a big tree, which is against our neighbor's fence, to the end of the fencing along the side there. And so I was trying to figure out a better distance to find but where we measured was, uh, basically that there's another, tree or whatever, I don't remember without looking at the back, but, yeah, just be like a post on the, batting cage. That's what.
The way I see it, the village, I mean, we're not gonna gain monetarily. I mean, we lose our property. So I guess what he's saying that this tree, what are you saying about this tree?
Yeah, there's a big tree, and then right up there is where our normal property line is, to that corner of that fence over there. So we wanted to do it, I was actually thinking, the second brown part of the batting cage at first, but then my husband's like, well, why don't you do this way? And so I'm like, well, whatever. But yeah, it was just 43 feet from our current.
The second, take down, that's 64 feet, 70 feet, somewhere in that here. But, I mean, I guess, for me as a village, I would ask the question, what do we gain from it?
The only concern I would have is, I know there's a lot of parking back there for events. And we're gonna lose parking.
Well, and with the batting cage right there too, is that gonna impede on that area?
Right, that's another concern. So the batting cage has a concrete slab, so.
Right, so that's really not
I mean,
moving.
now we're already back over here, 15 feet off the property line, to back it up. I mean,
Who owns those? You do?
We do not.
No,
Own what?
there's residents that own them.
Residents that own them down here, we had all this at one point in time, I believe it's sold. Sealed bid. Whatever.
I know the neighbor next to us, Jeff, I think he owns all the way back to the road.
Yeah, we own all the way back to Cedar, and, some of the residents own all the way back to Cedar.
But that was the old field back then, years ago, behind there, yeah.
Yeah, we sold those.
Yeah.
If it was my decision, I don't know if I would do it, because I don't know what we gain from it.
And with this new rec plan going on,
Right, and we wanna utilize that green space back there and maybe put up playground equipment back there, moving forward. I don't know.
Or expanding the baseball.
What is it?
I figured once if we do it, and once it's gone, we might be hurting ourselves,
Right.
especially with the ball club there.
I don't disagree.
I'm not arguing that, it's not a good idea to get rid of it, but I'm just saying that we. That
See,
and
in my-
stuff there already.
That's what I go back and forth on.
And I know kids do play back there during baseball games,
A lot of the Broncos players could play back there.
play baseball back there.
And I've actually caught people, I mean, I guess it really doesn't matter, or it doesn't bother me, but, we have dogs, so when we take them out potty, we, I mean, especially for like events and parties and stuff, we clean up, but if it's like hot out, then obviously we don't right away. But I just don't want everybody tracking it in, you know.
You have your dogs go to the bathroom back there?
Well, in
In your
our,
yard.
yeah, in our yard. But we have, because we take them on a leash outside.
Yeah, I understand the garage expansion. We did that a few years ago. Yeah, it was on our property. We couldn't go any bigger. We had to, the garage that we built was built on what we had and as big as we could go.
Same thing with us.
Yeah. I mean, we went closer to the road and as wide as we could go and closer to our house when we built our garage to make it as big as we could. And it's, I mean, over a 2.5 stall garage.
Yeah, how much room is behind that garage on their property?
I mean, you could build, the problem is you access it. So right now, if they build a garage behind their current garage, how would they get to it?
They would have.
Well, no, like if they would
Garage.
add on to their old
Yeah.
garage.
Well,
Or,
their old garage, I don't know how big it is, the next term garage, is only supposed to be 1,000 square feet, so. And I'm just guessing, yeah, the size of that is probably,
Only a 2-car garage right now.
25 by 25, so you're talking 500, you probably have, I would say 400 square feet on that, standard, I don't know the exact dimensions, but I'm gonna full wall, so I'd say 400 square feet. Other option is maybe just go to the corner of that fence line and angle it off to meet the property line over there, because the biggest problem that we gotta worry about is people walking through this area. The further we go north, the narrower it gets.
right,
And I know that they're asking for a lot more feet, but this is a minimum amount of footage that we lose at the park. You could expand it to go back here. Would that be a feasible idea? So we wouldn't be losing much, but I mean, you're still gonna end up can incur any cost on that, so you're talking like $2,000 to get a CSM, you get a registered deeds, and everything else. Is that something you understand as a board? I don't know. Where you have this little triangle, and that it doesn't meet their needs, but it would allow us to maintain a large open area if we remove this fence, a large open area for people to traverse and vehicles or whatever. I don't suspect vehicles, but if we put playground equipment up here, they're always not gonna live there. But we're always gonna have a park there. So if we put playground equipment up there, and they moved, and then we agreed to sell them the 43 feet, then you're gonna have an angry resident saying, hey, I always got these kids got to cross the lawn, they're throwing their stuff down here, nothing but hoodlums, you gotta look at the future of, I can see us giving up maybe to the corner there a little bit, maybe 10, 12 feet, and then angling off even with the other parcel over there, so it's a triangle. If it doesn't meet their need, I think that is something we can live with, but I don't think that 43 feet is something we want to.
So they can only have 1,000 square foot garage?
External garage, if it's not attached to the house, you can have a 1,000 square foot garage.
So how is that gonna benefit them if they can't build a bigger garage?
Maybe it gives them enough room to build a bigger garage and then put their pool in. I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas. I know that will they ask for a certain amount. I don't think it's a good idea to give them that certain amount. Just do it maybe an alternative if you want to entertain it. If you don't want to entertain it, I mean, we could just say no now. If you want to entertain it, then we can look into it.
I guess I feel that the village shouldn't get rid of any property that doesn't bring any kind of revenue in. Or businesses or, that's just my opinion.
Right? And I mean, when they bought the house, they knew where the lot line was. I mean, you can look at it a couple different ways. And I go back to, we're not taking any more land, and we've already given away some of our land. But it was, maybe wasn't the best choice at the time.
It's not a lot line too. If I wanted to put a pool, I have to look at pool that's in the fit of my property.
Motion on this?
Recommendations.
Recommendation.
We would just do the-
I'll make a recommendation to the board that we do not sell. So,
You would just make a recommendation, or basically make a motion now.
yeah, make a motion to not recommend you sell.
I'll second it.
Motion with Court, second by Stashik, to make a recommendation not to sell village property. At parcel 107. 0050022. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carried. Move up to new business. G1 and 2, we want to move to the next meeting?
Correct. So I contacted our attorney to look at our ordinance for zoning. There's some things that need to be changed. I was hoping to hear back by then. I know that she's trying to wrap up a lot of stuff before. She is on FMLA, or whatever that, before she has a temporary pause in service. I haven't heard back from the lawyer that's supposed to get back to me. I don't even have his email. I sent actually another email to try to get some, so I don't feel comfortable presenting that without them getting the
That's fine.
1 and 2. So what it is that we would move, essentially what I'm looking at is for 1, the administrative code for boards, commissions, and committees. Right now it has listed me as a zoning administrator on the zoning board of appeals, and also as code enforcement on plan commission and everything else. So what that is that's essentially like having the cop on the jury. So I'm the one that presents it. I will still be the village representative at these meetings. I won't have any vote at these meetings. But I shouldn't be on the meetings as a board member. And then number two, what that is, that's talking about our municipal code and the zoning where permitted and conditional uses, that we have some faults in our codes the way they're written, setting ourselves up for potential problems down the line. So we want to shore that up before it becomes a problem. So that's why I want their legal advice before we publish it.
I think as a board, we've had, board members cannot be employees of the village, so I think you're on the right track.
Do you want to do it for next meeting or next week till the
Next county.
call meeting?
Next town meeting, in, you know, a month. I better have something by then. I mean, she's been very good. Everything's been great. It's just, I think this got caught in the weeds with asking somebody else to assist me.
Yeah.
Brooke, you can go over there. Number three, discussion and possible recommendation on changes to land use, conditional use, sign application form.
What this is that we took the fence requirements away from the building inspector and put it on the director of municipal operations. So what I did is I modified the land use sign application, conditional use application, and added fence under application 4, fence $50. And then at the bottom backside where it said pools and hot tubs do not require land use permit, we used to say pools, fence, and hot tubs. So I removed that. So I changed that to match the current fence order.
I'll make a motion to approve the changes to the land conditional use application.
I'll second it.
Motion by Oxton, second by Zuliger. To recommend the changes to the land use, conditional use, sign application form. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Discussion and possible recommendation on final engineering report for Goncho Street Special Assessment.
So we finally got agreement between the contractor and us and the engineering report of the final payment. So what it is that, now that we have that number, we can send out the special assessments. The payment will be made, I guess, do I have approval to make the payment? Do I need the board to approve to authorize payment?
We will have, okay, so you should have a final one here, it's August 22nd.
Yep.
That's gonna be the final engineering report with the final assessments in there. We had a draft in there, and, now we got the final one this morning. In there is the final assessments on about the 6th page or so, 3rd page in.
Schedule C.
Yeah, Schedule C, those are the final total assessments. We have one more bill to pay of what, 14,000?
Right, that's the final payment, and that's what I'm
And that's
saying.
already been approved to pay.
Right.
So we'll be paying that in the first AP for September. So you guys will approve that payment in September, once we have that all finalized with the contractor.
Right, the final payment has been approved by the contractor, but in order for us to send a check, he needs to tie up his loose ends, meaning he needs his contractors to finish their paperwork, to sign it, and payment will not be released until that is completed. We know the amount, but payment won't be sent until the contractor shows that he has closed out all of his subcontractors.
So once that's done, which should be done by the time we have our board meeting,
Yeah, should be.
we will have a final resolution at the board meeting to approve. And at that time, then we will send out the letter to the Ganshaw residents the day after. That'll give them the option to pay their assessment in full, or they can finance it over a period of 5 years. The rate will be 2% over what our finance rate was when we took out the loan. So the loan rate at that time was 2%. So the rate will be at 4% over a period of the 5 years. So it'll be a 12% interest rate. So we will send those letters out the day after you guys approve the resolution. So they have that option. They'll have till the end of October to pay that, or it will be put on the taxes as an installment. So, there's only 12 of them, so it's not a big deal. If we don't hear from them, we'll call them and find out what they're doing. But, so at this meeting, we basically are approving, or recommending to the board the final engineering report and approving these assessments. At the next board we'll have the final payment ready, and we'll approve that resolution. And then those letters, all that stuff will be in the next one, but this is the final report that we need to approve, or basically recommend to the board for approval with these numbers.
Make a motion to recommend to the board the final Gotcha Street reconstruction unit.
I'll second it.
Motion by Stashik, second by Court, to recommend to the board on the final engineering report for Gotcha Street special assessment. Is there any discussion?
It shouldn't affect me, I can vote on this, right?
You can.
You gotta pay him.
Any more discussion? Okay, none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Discussion of possible recommendation on internet and telephone providers.
Okay, so TDS, last summer, 2 summers ago, whatever, put fiber throughout the building. So I've been talking to them to get a price quote, and what you have is a price quote. Let me back that up right now. We pay for approximately $420 a month for phone and phone only for the village. So for antiquated lines, long distance charges and everything else, we pay about $400. So TDS has this, and it's a 2-year program. That would be, it takes care of the fire, police department, village hall, municipal building, Wi-Fi at both parks, a phone at both parks, because it's cheaper if we put a phone there, don't even need a number. So a 2-year plan of $397.88 a month. Now that's unlimited long distance. Essentially, that's your price you're gonna pay a month. Now, the thing is, after 2 years, that promotional discount goes away and it goes up to $934 every month for fiber internet, telephone, and everything else. Now, that is 100 meg internet that we'd be getting. Currently, we're operating off virtual internet, which maxes out at about 25 megabytes, so we're going 4 times faster. We're not paying for long distance. They're gonna set up Wi-Fi and run fiber to both parks, so we have Wi-Fi at both parks. With that being said, we're currently getting free internet from Bertram. So I contacted Bertram and told them that we would like to discuss our contract we have up on the water tower with their antennas. Because the original contract was signed for 10 years. And that on that contract, they had a list of 12 items they were supposed to provide for us. Internet service was one of them. Other things were firewall, domain name, a bunch of other services that they were supposed to provide for us. But as technology has advanced, they got out of domain hosting, they got out of web hosting. We have a corporate network solution that does our security for the village, so we pay that. So the only thing that Bertram is currently providing us is internet. So I talked to Bertram. They're gonna look at it, discuss what they can do for us. And what I'm looking for is for them to come back and negotiate a price for them to put their stuff on our water tower. Seeing how we're not gonna use them at all. And it's gonna be a negotiation between them. I mean, they've done us well throughout the years. I got nothing bad to say about them. It was a service that they provided, but now we're moving on to something else. So it's not something that we demand, $1,000 a month for, but we're gonna have to see where that negotiation leads us. So with that being said, hopefully that money will offset the cost after 2 years that we're charging rent for on the water tower. So we could do I'm just speculate right now, like a 2-year contract with Bertram to say, okay, we're gonna see how it works out for 2 years. If we're all happy, we go forward, maybe we raise our price, maybe we don't, maybe we go back. I doubt it, but maybe. You never know.
Right, they might have a better service to
Right.
offer.
I know that they're putting up new towers and that they're going, with different, we're running off of 2.4, 3 is better, 5 is great if you have a straight line of sight, but that's down the road. So whenever it comes time to negotiate, we have to figure out A, price, and B, for our term. And I think that we marry it with the TDS term. And that would give us more reliable internet. Corporate network solution is already, because I asked them what it would cost for us to go from one to the other. And it's minimal work on their part, but there would be some work, maybe $1,000 worth of work to make sure that everything is straight. Because for the most part, we have everything coming into the building, and that would just change on which wire is coming into the building. So they'd have to do some stuff on their end, but not a bunch. I talked to Justin at Corporate Network Solutions, who said about $1,000, so that's not terrible. And to have that reliability and that speed and fiber internet, I think it's a pretty good deal.
We have TDS and went to the fiber, and we really like it. So we just switched a couple months ago.
I think the biggest thing is gonna be Swift Bertram would say with, because I mean, that's a huge
Yeah.
jump for us in 2 years.
Right. Oh yeah.
I mean, because right now we pay nothing. And so nothing is nothing.
Right.
Well, nothing is nothing, but you also.
But I
what
know
you pay
we've
for.
had a lot of issues lately with Bertram.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I
I guess
think that would depend on, like you said, depend on what they're gonna be willing to pay.
So is that
negotiate
something that
pay.
we can just move to the next town meeting?
When are they gonna give you some information?
They said 30 days. I talked to him about 2 weeks ago. He's gonna give us some information. I'm recommending that we go with the TDS, because if, bottom line, if Bertram comes back and doesn't wanna work with us, then we'll just tell them to take their antennas off their tower, which they can't. They got customers in the area and it works off the line of sight, so everybody in the greater Bonneville area, they would lose hundreds of accounts. And I'm not saying that we charge them $900 a month, but we charge currently $600 a month for the cell phone tower behind the building, so maybe we do $500 a month, and then that way, when it goes from 400 to 900, we're covered, give or take. And the plan that we're on right now is kind of ridiculous, that we're paying for all this long distance. I didn't know we were paying for long distance. And that's why I try to use a landline minimally. I use a cell phone because that's all included.
Right.
So I don't know if you want to wait till he comes back or just go with it. I mean,
I like the idea of it too, but I wanna find out what we're gonna do about that, and help with that deferring.
I guess if I hear back from Bertram between now and the board meeting,
So we would just leave their antennas up there at this point, we just wouldn't use their internet.
right, and other people in the surrounding area use the internet, so.
Because I mean, we have this agreement with them for 10 years, I know that they're not upholding their part of it, giving us all the stuff we're supposed to get, but.
Right.
Well, right now, their internet can't even keep up with when we have classes at the fire department. When the moment that everybody's connected to the internet, it drops down to nothing, and everybody gets booted from the system because it just drops down too much. So,
I would guess that the police department had the same issue with the county and everything running all their stuff through there.
Yeah, we've lost a couple of reports already that we've been working on, and we're halfway through them, and they are gone. So it's frustrating on our part too, but it is what it is, so.
yeah.
We save things more frequently now.
But yeah, because I know we had a CPR class not that long ago, and part of the way they do those classes now is everybody's got to do an online account that they got to log into. We ended up using the fire apparatus tablets that are on T-Mobile so that we could get everybody signed up, because T-Mobile is the only thing that works in the building cell phone wise, and yeah, the internet was not working.
What if we see what happens by the next board meeting, let's see if they get back to you, and then we can make a decision.
Can we make a decision at the board meeting?
Yeah, I guess you could recommend it to the board and with,
Pending the,
pending what, yeah, make a recommendation to move forward with it and see what comes out of the Jesse Dearden thing.
I'm sure we'll hear something from them, and I mean, $500, I think is a pretty steep thing, but maybe $400, but I think even if we're paying $420 now, and we get $400
We
from
might
that.
not, in 2 years, who knows what technology will be with it, it might come
Right.
down to.
Right,
And we got,
because the fiber is something new.
right, and our current contract with TDS for the phones, it's an outdated contract, so we're getting hammered with fees and charges, and that's why it's so expensive. I was like, $400, that's ridiculous. So I guess we'll see what they say when he comes back in a month, to see what he offers as keeping his antennas up there, and then we'll figure out if we wanna go forward with it.
I'll make a motion to, go with the TDS. The only thing pending is finding out about the payment of the use of the tower.
I'll second it.
Motion by Hackstein, second by Zoll here. To move forward with recommendation on internet telephone providers with TDS. Depending on we hear back from the water towers. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Discussion of possible recommendation on capital equipment request for 2024 budget.
All right, you guys all should have a packet that looks like this. Colors. So the top sheet is what everybody has requested. The sheets behind it are the actual forms that people have turned in for capital equipment. So the 200 fund is the capital equipment requests. So kind of go through them. Turnout gear. The first 3 items are going to be from the fire department. So this year, the fire department is asking for turnout gear, they're asking for 2 sets of turnout gear at a total of $6,000, which our portion would be $3,000, just 50-50 with Town of Heartland. They're asking for 2 sets of boots, so that would be $1,000, $500 for us, and 2 helmets, which would be $1,000 and be $500 for us. So that would be 2 complete sets of gear. Normally, they've just done the turnout gear, but our boots and helmets are also outdated, so they want to go for the entire gear. So that'd be a total of $8,000, $4,000 for us, $4,000 for Heartland. That would be 2 sets of gear to outfit 2 guys. Then the truck lease, which is non-negotiable. We have the truck payment, which is a total of $62,616. Our half is $31,308. That's for the fire truck that we bought a few years ago. Sodium light replacement, this would come from MO. It was supposed to be like $82.50 this year, and there's supposed to be 1 more year of $10,000. The year got shaved off, and so this year is $10,650. So it's supposed to be like 82 and then another year. They increased the amount but shaved off a year.
So basically, we'd be saving like 82.
Yes. This one also, Jesse is working on trying to get some
Right,
money
this is
in.
that grant I was talking about
Yeah.
for $142,000.
So this would be our last year of those sodium lights, the LED replacement lights for our lights. So this year would be $10,650. The tractor loader backhoe, as you know, we stuck about $18,000 into it this last year. Jesse has put in a request to start financing or start putting some money away for a new one. Right now, the quote is about $134,000 for a new one. And that is through Brooks Tractor. And all the supporting documentation is behind in that packet I gave you. So, it's, financing that over 3 years, we'd be looking at $36,000 a year. So he's asking for $36,000 this year to put away. And then the next 2 years, $36,000. And then at the end of, in 25, we would order that at the end of 25. And then it would come in 26 and we'd pay for it right away. So we'd be getting that delivered in 26 pay flush. The squad car, we put 20,000 away for it last year. Eric was asking for $37,315 for that car to purchase that car this year. So for our capital equipment, we are looking at a total of $119,273. And that's just for the equipment. Projects. Is there any questions on equipment? Right now? Projects.
I have a
So,
question.
sure.
So, just, because I know that we try to stay over the portion for levy.
Yep.
So what were we at last year, do you remember?
So if you look, I have, on the back, I have the spreadsheet, the big one. So last year, the equipment needs were $94,916. This year, we're at $154,581. That's the total.
Do you remember what we levied for debt last year on that?
We levied $6,000. This year, it'll depend what we want to levy for. It's all going to depend where we'll be with everything else, what our income will be. If we'll have income for projects, which will be probably minimal. So it'll really just depend where we're sitting. So I don't know what we'll be at yet.
Or the mil per thousand even?
Yeah, I don't know that all yet.
I'm only trying to stay around it. I'm just asking. Because I remember Billy tried to stay around $1 per thousand, is that the original?
I don't know that yet.
Okay, I may have been reading that up.
Yeah, you probably.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So, yeah. So, yeah, we're at 154 with the total of everything, because Heartland will reimburse us, so this, actually, the 119 is actually 154 with Heartland in there, so. All right, so project requests. Jesse has put in, as he mentioned, I believe at one of the last meetings, is that the ballpark lights for Village Park are burning out. They're what, 50 years old?
Yeah, 50 plus.
50 plus years old at Village Park. They're burning out. They are no longer can find parts for them. He has gotten 2 quotes, and one was 60,000, and the other one's about 120,000 to fix them. So he's put in a quote for 60,000 to get them replaced. What he is thinking is that possibly we could get some help maybe from the school and some of the other organizations that use the ballpark. He's thinking if we put in 30, maybe some of these other entities would help replace these park lights. Otherwise, they have to play during the day. I don't know. So he is asking for 30,000 for projects. So that would be out of the 300 fund. Don't know if it's going to be feasible, but we have to do something because we don't have lights.
Right.
I don't know what we're doing. This is just Village Park right now, but the bid for was it Olson was 60. Krieger was 120.
Ooh.
So basically, what that's telling us is they're really busy. They don't want the job, so they're just throwing their bid.
I have sought out a third, but I haven't heard back from them. They came and looked at it.
So if we don't have the money, it's probably going to have to be a meeting of the village and these entities to figure out what we're gonna do because it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So that's where the 30,000 is. That's just, like I said, it's in there. We'll plug it in and see where it goes. So then the 610, we have the water replacement. So we have to replace the meters, which we've been working on for a couple of years already. The total meter cost a few years ago was $140,000 to replace those meters. We've done a couple of years already, and we have through 2028 to put that away. It was a 7-year project that we were putting $20,000 away in the water fund to do that. So it'd be another $20,000 this year, which doesn't really affect the tax money type thing, but $20,000 for that again. So those are the ones that are kind of out there for that we know we need. The other project we have where we're running into the fund is Highway 117 reconstruction project. So that project is happening next year. Right now, these are the costs that are associated with it. So the water fund, the water part of it's $590,000. Planning and engineering, there's another $21,000 that's going to have to be paid for. The sewer portion of it's about $4,200. Road and sidewalks that we're gonna be responsible for, about $72,138. And then we have to have 10% contingency for water and sewer. So that's just the water and the sewer portion of that, so that's $59,420 we have to have as a 10% contingency. So we're looking at a grand total of $746,758 we need for 117. So right now, what we have for cash on hand is we have $139,350 in our ARPA fund. We have roughly $200,000 in the water fund cash on hand that we could take. That will leave us about $180,000 in the water, plus our reserve that we have to have by state regulation. And the sewer fund, we would have the $5,000 we need for that we could take out of that. So we have about $344,000 of the $746,000 we need. So we still need over $400,000. So we have no money. So Jesse and I have kind of talked. I mean, we have to take out a loan. That's just a given. We just don't know what's the best thing to do. So Jesse is going to reach out to Ellers and try to figure out what we need to do for this Highway 117 project. There's a lot of things going on as far as we know we're going to need $400,000 minimum for this 117 project. So we could take out a loan from, let's say, Bondwell State Bank. And we could take out, let's say, a 5-year loan, try to pay back $100,000, around $100,000 the next 5 years to pay back that loan. Okay, we could do that. When you're looking at like a general obligation loan, like we did a couple years ago, like a big go bond, they always kind of say about $1 million you need. Okay, well, we've got $400,000 here. We want to do something with Sunrise Court. We purchased those lots, and we're going to have to do that road, which infrastructure and paving the rest of that road to finish that. We really want to develop those lots by minimum $500,000. So you're talking $500,000 there. If we have to start replacing all park lights, park improvements, there's other things that need looking at. Do we look at doing another general obligation fund of $1 million? Do we qualify? Do we have enough borrowing capacity? I don't know that. I don't get paid enough to be that type of brain. Jesse doesn't get paid enough to be that kind of brain power. That's where Ellers comes in. And so we're not real sure how we pay for this stuff. We don't have enough cash on hand to do it. And I mean, our equipment requests and all of that other stuff, we're gonna have to fit into our budget. But this Highway 117 project, we need to figure out financing.
Right, because that's not fitting in.
That's not gonna fit in a budget. We're not gonna ask taxpayers for 400. I mean, it's gonna fit in a budget, but it's gonna be financed.
Right.
So they're gonna pay for it through loans. But I don't know how we're doing that yet. So that will be figured into it as a proceeds of debt and a loan payment, but I don't know how that's figuring in yet.
So would we have to talk to Ellers?
Yes, so
Right,
Jesse
I'm
was,
gonna talk to Ellers and see what our best way, A, can we borrow, how much can we borrow? B, I mean, the road up at Sunrise Court, I think is pretty monumental because that's revenue once we get that put in. So that's gonna give us revenue. So, and I know people are gonna say, well, is it smart to spend money up there? Yeah, because that's gonna make us money.
Right.
So if we can knock that all out and go through a go bond to get that money to put in that infrastructure, and then that money to do 117 and maybe knock out a couple things that's on the list, then I think that's a huge win for us. But I don't know if it's feasible. And also I gotta, once the bid letting is, they're gonna do that next month, we'll know exactly what kind of price tag we're looking at. Cause these numbers are guesstimate.
Right, because the state is actually the one that's doing the project,
They are doing other projects.
but we have to
But this is
pay
our
for
price
it.
tag.
Right, so, and that's
Put
our
the
agreed
bill.
cost share, because that's what we agreed upon to have the parking lanes on 117 for the stop and go lanes north. That's what we agreed upon for the sidewalks. Sidewalks is minimal. The parking lanes is a big thing, and the water main is a big thing. And the water main has to be redone. I've talked to the DNR again. I actually ran into him at a park day to say, hey, we pull, we need some money. But he said that we don't have no water main breaks. I was like, contrary, I don't know, maybe the paperwork doesn't reflect it. So I'm still barking up that tree, and maybe we can get a little interest rate from the DNR. I really doubt we're gonna get any grants or debt forgiveness. So,
So do you need a motion from us to contact,
no.
No,
We're-
we're gonna, that's just what we're gonna do, but I guess I just want you guys to realize that we got some major issues this year to figure out, and that we need to figure out, and,
firstborns aren't an option?
you know. I can't do that.
Rod sale. Rod sale.
So, yeah, I mean, like I said, you know, Jesse and I sat down and looked at that 117 project, but, you know, and then I know that everybody, you know, the price of everything is up.
Right.
So, you know, I don't know, there's a lot of, you know, shared revenue stuff we don't know yet. So we'll see where all those numbers come in and that, but I guess for this, I mean, I think everything that's in here is stuff that's definitely needed. So I think at this point, unless there's something you think we really should cut at, I think we need to run with the numbers and see where they come out. And for, at least for the September meeting, and then we look at cutting.
Right.
Because at this point, I guess until the numbers shake out and we see where they're at, I mean, I don't think anyone's asking for anything that's really too out of the realm of things. But like I said, once we start looking at, you know, fuel and wages and operational costs, we may have to readjust what we're asking for project, or for, you know, equipment and project.
Well, I think it's pretty safe to assume we don't need a police car. So we have two on hand as of right now. One's 2 years old, so.
Well, I guess we can let it run in there for right now. I mean, we put some money away for it, but I guess let's leave it in and see where it shakes out.
It's not hurting anything in there right now.
Yeah, right now, it's not, I mean, we'll see where it shakes out for September when we have our board meeting. And then go from there. So, I mean, I know you guys are looking at different things with staffing. And that's, you know, that's on the agenda here too, so.
Right.
That would be my recommendation, is to basically recommend this to be put in for the budget, and we look at it at the board meeting. And we've got a few meetings where we're gonna be crunching numbers, so.
I'll make a motion to recommend the capital equipment requests for the 2024 budget as they are and see how it all shakes out.
I'll second it.
Motion by Hogstad, second by Zuliger, to recommend, make a recommendation on equipment requests for the 2024 budget. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Discussion and possible recommendation on 2024 budget.
All right, so the next packet you have is going to be each of our individual numbers, our initial budget numbers that were turned in. So you'll have the admin department, fire department, police, and MO. That is going to also include the 2024 water and sewer in there. So, do you wanna go line by line, or how long you guys wanna be here tonight?
I'm pretty tapped out already, so.
Okay, I mean, I know it's a lot to take in. So, basically, I have my numbers in there. I have notes, everybody's kinda got notes on what they've got. I mean, I'm missing some things yet. These are preliminary and I've got some things I'm waiting for. You know, the person look at these, so I don't know if you guys have questions on anything. One thing I have on my 300 fund, we will have numbers for Ganshaw Street this year, so there will be special assessment money coming in, so the 300 fund will not look as sad as it did last year. So we'll have some money coming in for that. So those are starting to get filled in. Fire department, numbers have been put in for all of that. There are some notes on the side there. Some of those numbers have gone up a little. There is hose testing that's been added. That was an extra expense that, we had to add. There's been some other things that have come up that were not accounted for in the past, so some of those have gone up a little bit too. Police department, those numbers are in there. I think I just added basically the car and a couple things for the 200, the sale of the Crown Vic. And then MO's numbers are all in there, along with the water and sewer. You guys have anything to add to your budgets for them? So I guess what I would ask of you guys is to start looking through these for the next meeting. There's a lot of numbers. I would like you guys to kind of look through them and if you have questions for the next meeting.
For the next town meeting or next board meeting?
Board meeting, because we're gonna have, what I'll do for the next board meeting is I'm gonna enter all these numbers into the actual worksheets. So the next one will have, you'll actually get one with printed numbers in them. And I'll add in all the capital stuff. So everything will be in as much as possible. Some of the state stuff we won't have yet, but I'll put in the numbers as much detail as I can. We can look at it. And then actually the next town meeting will be, we maybe want to look at starting that a little earlier. I think that one's gonna be a lot of trying to figure out where we're at. So that October meeting, we can be almost at a point where finals are gonna be getting cut and things like that. That'll be like our working one, the next town meeting. So,
I can, by 5.
I mean, like 5:30 even would be good if we could start the town meeting, the next one. But we can talk about that as board, but, yeah, so you'll get the next one will be numbers in there, because the next town meeting, you guys are actually gonna be doing evaluations too, or in your mailbox too. So that'll be a longer one, so you might wanna start that one a little earlier. Okay.
Make recommendations to the board.
Look at the numbers. Move forward with these numbers. Thank you.
I'll
Second it.
Motion by Stashik, second by Hartenstein. To move forward to the board with the recommendation of the 2024 budget. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Discussion of possible recommendation on 2024 water budget.
Just do those two together and
The
the
water
water in
and
there.
sewer the same as,
Okay, we'll do 8 and 9 together. Discussion of possible recommendation on 2024 sewer budget also.
I mean, they're in there. Yeah, I'll just move those numbers too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll make that one.
I'll make a motion to move the numbers for the water and sewer.
I'll second it.
Motion by Hochstein, second by Court, to recommend to the board the 2024 water budget and the 2024 sewer budget. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion carried. Unfinished business, discussion of possible recommendation on village personal policy update.
I sent another letter to Bill, on the 2nd of August. And I sent it certified, he received it on the 4th. And I basically sent him a letter with all the statements saying, hey, this is what we've paid. Please send us a policy book. I have not seen it yet. Talked to Ashley about a week ago. She said that if I do not get it within a month, then I'm to send him a letter asking him for a refund of what we paid since I didn't get the finished product or a product at all. So I'm giving him until the 4th of September, holiday weekend, but then I will send him another letter basically asking for that refund. So from there. So that's where that's at. So by consensus, if we can move that to another month.
Discussion of possible recommendation on police department staffing for 2024 budget.
So I know, Tim, you've been getting some numbers. I know I've gotten a couple things from a couple departments on some numbers. What I would suggest is that for the board meeting, you guys have a closed session to discuss where you're looking at for a range and what you want to do with this position. I did kind of start looking at budget numbers, and that might be something we'd have to ask Eric, because if you're looking at a one-man show, if that's what you're thinking, I mean, some of those budget numbers need to probably be looked at, because right now the numbers we have is based on the department you have. The other thing is I did check with the attorney to see if you decide to go to just a chief, no staff, if there's anything that we need to do as far as a police committee meeting or anything, because you'd be reducing staff. And right now we have 5 part-timers. And because it's a restructure of the department, the police committee would not need to be involved. And we would just basically, it's a restructure. And so she gave me some information on, you just restructuring, so the department's changing, and it's just a matter of the so there's no need to have the police committee involved, and I have some documentation on that, but I can share it with you guys to the closed session. So that's where it would be, but I think that you guys need to have that closed session to discuss the position, the wages, what you're gonna do. And then whatever Tim has found out, like I said, I've gotten a couple things that have been emailed to me about other departments, where they're at and what they're starting at. Some of the departments are a lot bigger, with like 9 reports. So of course those budgets could be a lot bigger, so. But I guess, pardon me?
I couldn't find any similar to us, in size that responded, so.
Okay. Yeah. I know that there's a couple that, I think last year when you guys looked at this, I did have a couple. I might still have those contacts, that had just like a one-man show. So I can look and see if I still have those. So,
I'll just touch base with you tomorrow.
okay, but yeah, like I said, I guess I would recommend it to your meeting to go ahead and, to discuss it for your board meeting.
I'll make a motion that we recommend to go have a closed session to discuss the police department staffing.
I'll second it.
Motion by Hochstein, second by Zuliger, to make a recommendation on the police department staffing for 2024 budget. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The next meeting is
would be the September 9th, 13th.
Is that the board meeting?
And that one we're still having at 6.
6, and John Troutman is supposed to be at that one. Our audit is supposed to be done by then. We haven't had, it's not done yet. I had an email with him today, and I don't know if he was crabby with me because I've been bugging him every 2 weeks about it. And I just told him I'm sorry if I offended him, but this is the latest I've ever had an audit, and he said he wasn't offended. So he said he would be at that meeting. So I don't know if you guys wanted to start that one earlier or not, but I was maybe gonna
We'll have to discuss.
Start at 5:30?
Yeah, 5:30 is what it is.
Did you do 5:30, Tim?
Pardon?
Can you do 5:30 for the September 13th board meeting?
Sure.
I'll let him know this one. I don't know if he's doing virtual, John, but he can mark it down that he'll be at that meeting.
Okay. I will make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Motion by Court, second by Zuger to adjourn. Is there any discussion? Hearing none,